Where do you see the next billion-dollar opportunities? Ooh, it's a big question. I think the next big boom will be robotics. Robotics is yet to have its ChatGPT moment. So we had our ChatGPT moment in, what was it, November 2023 in artificial intelligence. Obviously, AI has been around for a lot longer than that. In fact, it's been around since the 50s, the kind of concept of artificial intelligence. But it was with the release of GPT 3.5 that suddenly it came into the mainstream. It became easy enough, cheap enough for normal people to use. And that's when we had that boom in popularity. And I'm sure you've seen the uptake graphs of hitting 1 billion users in basically zero time at all. Robotics has not yet had that moment because robots are still slightly too expensive, definitely too expensive for the average person to get involved. I think when the costs come down sufficiently, plus the fact that we now have generative AI, we have large language models, etc., that we can use inside of the robots for language tasks, it will have its moment then. That said, robotics is arguably harder to get into because it's physical. It requires physical experimentation. It requires creating in the physical realm. So if you are going to build a business, if you're going to build expertise, there are higher costs to entry at the moment, at least. That will decrease. So what are we looking at? Next billion-dollar opportunity. Yeah, probably definitely robotics, but that's probably in the trillions. So the next billion-dollar opportunity is probably still in AI. There's this thing called the capability overhang, which I find a fascinating idea, which is if generative AI, if AI stop progressing today, it's still going to take years for humanity to catch up and work out all the things that we can do with it. It's a technology that is expanding faster than we are able to use it, which is unusual. I guess the internet would probably be the closest equivalent because the basics of the internet were put in place back in the late 90s, 2000s, but it took us time to then build different technologies on top of that. Like e-commerce, for example, did not exist early on. Social media networks did not exist for 10, 15 years since the birth of the internet. We built new technologies on top of the internet. And I think that's going to be the same with artificial intelligence because it is a general purpose technology. So the question here of how do you build $1 billion business is going to be what can you build on top of artificial intelligence that can be extremely valuable, that can be $1 billion valuable. That comes back to business, creating something that solves problems for people. So people have problems out there. They currently use Google, they use ChatGPT to find solutions for those problems. What can you do to get in between and make that easier for them? How can you help them? So again, just because I have it on my screen, Lovable makes vibe coding more accessible to people because some people open up Cursor and they're like, absolutely not, I'm out of here. This is too complicated for me. Whereas a tool like Lovable solves that problem by just giving you a simple ChatGPT like interface that people can see that and they'll be like, okay, I get it. I understand what I'm doing here. So if you start always here with business, working out what problems people have that you can solve, that's where we can build valuable companies. So it's not just about the technology, although don't tell Silicon Valley that because they'll just throw money at anything that has AI in it. It's about solving a valuable problem first and foremost. So if you can find $1 billion problem, you can make $1 billion.